Welcome to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh.
Hey guys, what is up? PI Podcast here, back with episode 17. Me and Ian are excited. If you guys saw our vlog, we did put it up. Make sure you guys go check out that vlog on our channel. This should be our latest upload. We went to a Jacksonville Jaguars draft party right next to the stadium, so it was pretty awesome to see. And today we're going to be going over the first round of the NFL 2022 NFL draft and what we think of the sections for each team. So definitely a really, really exciting podcast today, and hopefully you guys are excited.
Yep. So here's the thing. I was disappointed we didn't get Aiden Hutchinson number one. However, I've had some time to sleep on it. I've gotten to think about it a little bit. I'm actually impressed with what the Jaguars did in the draft total. I think they were very smart for grabbing two linebackers because our linebacker core isn't the greatest. We do have a Luakon, and now we have two young studs on rookie contracts. So, like, if a Luakon doesn't work out for us, he's on like a 3 or 4 year deal, but he has a 2-year out, and then we only hit a little bit of dead money. So, like, really smart for us to go ahead and grab two young linebackers. So, yeah, very happy about that.
Definitely, if you guys got a vlog, I got Ian's reaction to them taking Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson. It's really funny. You guys should really check it out. But starting off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they completely missed. I know Trayvon Walker is an amazing player, but I just don't see how you can miss on Aiden Hutchinson. It's just an amazing edge rusher, the best edge rusher in that draft. And to overlook him because someone else kind of has upside that you think has more traits, I don't see how that decision gets made because Aiden Hutchinson has all the traits already, and he's ready. And he's ready to start right now.
He's proved it all through college. Again, decent competition in college, at the big stage of the game in college. I do understand Trayvon Walker played multiple positions. So his stats are kind of deflated because of that. And I do think he will be, I think he's going to get more sacks. I think he's going to play at a higher level if we just put him at one position and have NFL-graded coaches coaching him at that position. So I think he is going to be good. I think it was stupid to, when Trent Baalke, He's what? Three wins this year, 1 win. He's like 4-30 his record as a GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's got 4 wins on his record. And I think it was stupid to gamble. He's gambling his entire career. Because no other team is going to go after him as a GM if he misses.
Yeah, and it's gambling your career. I mean, Trevor Walker is probably going to be a good player. I'm not going to say he's not, because he probably is, but if you see Aiden Hutchinson making a Pro Bowl or defensive rookie year his first year, Jags fans are going to be missing out. Or even the Jags front office, they're going to be like, why didn't we take Aiden Hutchinson? Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But Trayvon Walker's a good player, so I get why the Jacksonville Jaguars had a decision to make. But we'll see where Trayvon Walker fits in that Jags defense and how he plays this year. I'm definitely going to be something interested with all these first-round picks to see how they play. Super excited for that. And then what the Jaguars didn't do, the Detroit Lions did. And they drafted Aiden Hutchinson on that D-line. So they got an amazing player in Aiden Hutchinson, and he's going to be a dominant edge rusher for Detroit. And he's just going to fit into the system, and I think he fits well with Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I agree. I think Aiden Hutchinson, he's playing at He's from Michigan. Damn. He's from Michigan, so, I mean, obviously he's going to have a lot of fans there. I mean, obviously the Detroit Lions, they got a gift. They lost out on the number 1 overall pick because they won their last game when the Jaguars won. Like, if they would have lost that game, they would have had the number 1 overall pick. So they lost out, but they still got their guy. So
at the end of the day, it didn't matter for them because they won a game and they won an extra game and they still got whoever they wanted. And it's just crazy how this happened because I know Traylon Walker was talked about during the whole day of the draft and the day before, like he was going to pick number 1. And apparently Jacksonville saw something in Traylon Walker that they really liked and why they picked him number 1. And it's going to be interesting to see which one outperforms the other this year. There's a chance Traylon Walker could outperform Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
But remember, it's their rookie year, so it's going to take a few years before we know who got the right pick.
Yeah, who picked correctly. And really, it was the Jaguars to lose here because I think, in my opinion, if Aiden Hutchinson is a bust, you're not talked about badly because Aiden Hutchinson was the correct number 1 overall pick by everybody. Everybody thought he should be the number 1. The only reason Trayvon Walker was discussed as the number 1 pick because rumors said he was going to be number 1 because Jacksonville really liked him. So Aiden Hutchinson should have been number 1, and if he busts, you're not faulted. It's kind of like Josh Rosen being a bust. Everybody thought he was the number 1 quarterback out of that draft. Similar with Johnny Manziel. Nobody was faulting anybody for drafting Johnny Manziel because he was the number 1. He was one of the best quarterbacks in that draft in college. Same with Aiden Hutchinson. If he does that, if he comes in and just flat out fails, you're not gonna get disregarded as an NFL scout because he was the number 1 consensus overall pick. Similar to Trevor.
Yeah, and Trevor was a good pick. For Trevor, everyone knew Jack would pick Trevor, and that was a solid, safe pick. That was what they should have done with Aiden Hutchinson this year.
Correct. And the thing is, if Trevor's a bust, it doesn't matter because every scout, media member said he's a once-in-a-generational type QB, similar to Andrew Luck. You draft him and he fails, nobody's faulting you.
Exactly. But now you're taking this risk. People are going to fault you for taking Trevor Walker if he doesn't know. Exactly. And going back to Josh Rosen's point, Josh Rosen was drafted by the Cardinals. But at the same time, Josh Rosen isn't great, I know that. But I think Arizona also threw him in when he was not supposed to be in. And they just messed up his development. If they could have developed Josh Rosen, maybe he could have been a good starter. Who knows?
Similar to Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, kind of like Mitchell Trubisky, and even
they failed to develop.
Even Gardner Minshew.
They all failed. Well, Blake Bortles
wasn't great, but Jaguars don't know how to build quarterbacks either. So
that's true. And Gardner Minshew, he was thrown in the lineup, thrown out of the lineup. Went to Philadelphia, where Hurts is a good quarterback. I think he's got potential. I mean, I'm not riding him as good as I am like Mac Jones or Justin Fields. I have more faith in Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, all them guys. But I think Tua's a bust. In my opinion,
I don't think Tua's great either. I think he might have been.
So I hold them above Tua.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you. All those QBs are above Tua. And I think they have more developmental potential than Tua. And Tua's got him a chance. And he can throw well. It's just that his decision making and sometimes his accuracy as well.
And the deep ball is just not very. And that's a lot of times with left-handed quarterbacks too. Michael Vick he was a freak out.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go secondary for pick number 3. The Houston Texans drafted Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback from LSU. We were kind of shocked that Sauce wasn't the first cornerback at first, but I think Derek Stingley is going to play well in Houston. I think it was a solid pick.
I think Houston got a really good corner over here in Derek Stingley Jr. And we were kind of shocked that Sauce got earning a pick in his place. But at the same time, I think Derek Stingley can be as good as Sauce Gardner, and they're both really good.
Yeah, I think they're really good.
So Houston got a really good corner here that can set the tone for their defense.
And the Texans needed secondary help. I mean, they need help everywhere, but they really needed secondary help.
Yeah, Derek Stingley is such a good corner. Like, he can get the ball, he can read, his play rec is off the charts and everything. Very good pick. And then at number 4, the New York Jets selected Sauce Gardner.
I like the pick for them. I think the Jets, they have a really young team right now, and getting Robert Saleh, a good corner to kind of build his defense around, and then they were also able to grab Garrett Wilson, so they were also able to get help on the offensive side of the ball as well. And then didn't they get an edge rusher late?
Yeah, they got Jermaine Johnson.
Jermaine Johnson, yeah. So really like all their picks. I mean, we'll talk about them in depth further.
Yeah, they had Jets had a really good one of the best drafts.
Yeah, especially first round. I didn't pay attention to their later round picks, but their first round, they drafted 3 needs. And the way the wide receiver market is, obviously, wide receivers started flying after Atlanta grabbed one. But I think the Jets were very smart for going defense early.
Yeah, and Ahmad Gardner, he's good. And his comparison when he got drafted was the Darrelle Revis. So, and it was fitting because Darrelle Revis kind of he one of the picks the Jets had, he announced a pick for them, so that was kind of fitting. Ahmad Gardner is such a good corner. I've seen some of his college stuff, and he can really play man-to-man. He can play press. He can play zone. He can do whatever you need in the corner. And he's got that all-around type of corner.
The New York Giants at pick number 5 got Kayvon Thibodeau. I know you were hoping he would fall to number 8 for you, but
and he almost did.
He did. I love the pick for the Giants. I think they were very smart. They had pick 5 and 7. I think if they would have went Icky at number 5, they would have lost a really good rusher right there. And I don't know who they would have picked at number 7. So I like that they went edge and then went back and got the second best tackle at number 7.
Yeah, and this is a dynamic edge rusher. I know he's not Aiden Hutchinson, he's not Grant Walker, but he's in a realm of that edge rushing type top edge rushers. Kayvon Thibodeau, he's an animal on the edge. He can bull rush people. He's a power edge rusher, and he's crazy. He's crazy. Some of the stuff in college that he did, it's just crazy. And Dan Campbell did not want him because of his personality. It's rumored, obviously, but definitely he's such an all-around player. It's just an easy, good pick by the Giants, and definitely now they have an edge rusher.
Number 6, the Carolina Panthers grabbed Ikem Ekwonu. I love the pick for the Panthers. They got to protect Sam Darnold or whoever is back there throwing the football. Obviously, they did get a quarterback, so I think Sam Darnold's going to start for a few games, and then we'll probably see. Yeah, it was actually really surprising how late quarterbacks.
It was. That's one of the things we're going to talk about in our future podcast too. We're definitely going to be going over this probably tomorrow.
Yeah, we're probably going to do another podcast tomorrow.
Special podcast tomorrow.
And we're going to be guests.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be guests on another podcast. This podcast team, they invited us to be on their podcast, so we just want to say thank you to them. They definitely reached out, and they're really cool people. Definitely, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, I wasn't in the group chat where they said their name.
But also, Icky for the Carolina Panthers, it's a good, really good, the best, probably one of the top 2 O-linemen in the draft. And Carolina, no matter, because they got Mac Corral now, so he's going to get protected. I think they need to develop him, but I think if Sam Darnold just does bad, they're going to have to be forced to put him in. Yeah. And they still have Cam, so I'm not sure what they're going to try to do with him. They might already just release him, something like that. So who knows in that situation.
Yep, so it is the Not So Pro Football Talk. They've been around for a little bit now. They invited us to be on their podcast, so we're going to have some fun with that. Basically talking about the draft, so you guys are not going to want to miss that. We'll obviously be dropping links all over Twitter, Discord, before the show tomorrow. So that'll be fun. It's going to be a first time on someone else.
Yeah, definitely a first, like, collab sort of thing. But definitely it'd be really, really, really cool to do. Going to the 7th overall pick, the New York Giants, we get back-to-back offensive linemen here. They took Evan Neal, who I ranked above Icky as the best lineman, but they're both really, really good. And New York Giants, they got an edge rusher and they got a lineman. They declined Danny Jones' fifth-year option. So this is going to be Danny Jones' prove year. Either he's going to be the future starting quarterback for the New York Giants, or they're going to have to draft someone next year.
And next year's better for the QB draft, which I like. So, we were all kind of shocked that teams waited to the 3rd round to start drafting quarterbacks again. However, it makes sense. They would have been overvalued. I mean, it would have been a stretch to pick them in the 1st. There's a lot of guys like that, too. I know as a Jaguar fan, I've been all over Facebook and Twitter today. Everybody was screaming to get Justin Ross in the 1st round with their pick. Well, actually, with pick 33. And he went out and drafted. I mean, so there's still some talented wide receivers left. But the way this draft was, it wasn't very deep at wide receiver. And the wide receiver, all the good ones left. Right. But there were some guys that could have, in a normal scenario where you didn't have this record-breaking offseason wide receiver contracts, they probably would have fallen to the late 2nd or even early 3rd rounds. I mean...
Yeah, and you can kind of see the downfall. Or what do you call it? The repercussions of that contract Jacksonville Jaguars signed. Christian Kirk did a $70 million deal, and then every receiver started getting paid heavily. And you could see this. We're going to go over the trades that happened in the 1st round too. Definitely some crazy ones. Evan Neal, great tackle for the Giants. Very good pick again. And at number 8, my Atlanta Falcons, they got Drake London, wide receiver from USC. And at first, I was a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed because I really wanted an edge rusher, and Jermaine Johnson is still on the board at this point. So definitely, I was kind of upset. But after what we got throughout the other rounds, we definitely addressed edge rusher a lot. So it kind of, as of today, I think I really do like this pick in Drake London. I think Drake London is probably. I thought Jameson Williams was the best wide receiver, but Drake London is a more jump ball kind of receiver. And the Falcons were kind of starting to build that with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, and they're just trying to get a basketball-esque football team out there. Yeah. And Drake London, he did a 450 basketball layup, dunk, whatever, and it was kind of crazy to see. So definitely, you guys just look up Drake London basketball, and you guys will see the video. It was pretty crazy what he did.
Yeah, the dude's a freak athlete. That's a really good wide receiver core. I do know Zacchaeus isn't bad. You'll vouch for him. He had a good season. Considering on most teams, he wouldn't be a wide receiver number 2. He'd probably be 3, 4, fighting for a starting spot kind of guy. But Matt Ryan obviously elevates wide receivers around him. I'm really hoping that Marcus Mariota, for the first part of the season, can get these wide receivers, tight ends, all on the same page. And then hopefully... Damn, who'd you go?
Hopefully Desmond Ridder.
That's right.
Desmond Ridder doesn't have to come in. I think Desmond Ridder has accuracy issues. So I think it would be good if he sat out this whole year.
But if you got a guy that's 6'7" catching balls, who cares how accurate he is?
Yeah, exactly.
Just throw it up there.
Yeah, with Cup and Drake London now. Just throw it up there. Like basketball. But Yeah, I think I really like the Drake London receiver. Receiver was the hole we needed because Russell Gage got Calvin Ridley's out for the year. Who knows if he's going to be a Falcon next year? I think we might have him again next year when he comes back.
It depends, yeah.
Who knows? There's not. And then if he does stay, that wide receiving core is looking crazy good.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Calvin Ridley, and then you got Cordero Patterson.
With potential to get another one next year.
Yeah.
Next year's wide receiver core is supposed to be even better than this year's, depth-wise. And then obviously the quarterbacks is going to be even better. But now the quarterbacks are going to fly off next year, and you guys don't have to worry about a quarterback.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And Desmond Ridder was kind of coined as the most mature quarterback out of the draft, or out of the top quarterbacks in the draft. Definitely, I know we liked Desmond Ridder a lot. I really thought we were going to go Malik Willis though, just because of the talent. But I get that if we needed to start someone now, it would have had to have been Desmond Ridder, because Malik Willis definitely won't be ready this year if he's forced to that lineup.
So yeah, the Falcons are going to be fun to watch. I think they got a fun young offense, and their defense is starting to bulk up a little bit. So they're going to be a team to look at. The Saints obviously look like they're rolling with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and then Tampa Bay's got Tom Brady, so that's always going to be a battle. But Carolina, who knows?
Who knows? They have a good defense, but definitely offense is the main concern for them right now.
So you have a chance to get second place in the division still.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mark Mariota. I think he's going to be decent enough.
Yeah. The hope for Atlanta right now should be that Marcus Mariota can play good enough that they don't have to put Ridder in. Yeah. You hope that way he can keep developing. You hope it's not really a QB battle. You hope Marcus Mariota can win the QB battle, because I think it's going to be a QB battle.
It is, and Arthur Smith came out and said that either of these guys can start week 1.
Right. So, and you hope Marcus Mariota is good enough. That way Ridder can just develop and not be thrown into a situation. Now, granted, he's in a pretty good situation, in my opinion, weapons-wise. Cordell Patterson himself is just a complete animal. The Falcons have obviously figured out how Arthur Smith has figured out how to game plan for Cordell Patterson, which is something the Bears couldn't do.
Yeah, and it's weird because every time we've drafted a receiver in the last 10 years, we've hit on a receiver. So I'm okay with the wide receiver pick, and I love that we just are able to find these career, these franchise wide receivers. It's just crazy and awesome to see, because you're never going to be scored at wide receiver.
Right. The Seattle Seahawks went offensive line. They went with an offensive tackle, Charles Cross, which was the 3rd best tackle in the draft. I do like the pick from them. They're kind of showing that even if Drew Lock is not the guy, I don't think they're trading for Baker or Jimmy. But whoever does end up being the quarterback there in the future, they've got a young offensive tackle that can protect their blind side. So I do like the pick.
Yeah, and Seattle drafted a rookie quarterback in round 7. So who knows what they're going to do with him, because that quarterback room is obviously loaded now. So I think they're going to drop Cam, obviously, because I don't think they've won 4 quarterbacks here. So I think they're going to drop Cam.
Oh, no, I was talking Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Well, they have Geno Smith and Drew Lock, and I think that rookie quarterback. I don't know. I think they did it for. I don't know what they did it for. I think they did it to try to get competition out of Drew Lock.
Yeah.
And Geno Smith. That may have been why. But also, I really thought they would have gotten Malik Willis in the first few rounds, not 8 and 9, because they had a really good pick before the Falcons in the 3rd round before we even took Ridder, and before the Titans took Willis. So I really thought they would have been Willis.
All right, and then the Jets, like we were talking about, they got a big weapon for Zach Wilson, and they got Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State.
And if you guys see now, these wide receivers are going to drop off the board. And it started with wide receivers, so now everyone's like, I got to be pressured because the wide receivers are going to drop off the board right now. And Garrett Wilson, he's a speedy receiver too, and he's got hands.
Yeah, I do like the pick for them. Kind of opens up because they've got two big tight ends and C.J. Uzomah, and then who else was it? Was it Conklin? Who else did they get? They got another tight end this offseason.
C.J. Uzomah, and then they got Corey Davis still. They got Elijah Moore. They got really good receiving core now and a lot of weapons. And they dropped the running back in the second round. We'll talk about more of that tomorrow.
And Michael Carter, their wide receiver, it was Tyler Conklin. Yeah, they did get Tyler. Yeah. They got two decent tight ends. C.J. Uzomah, I think, is a good tight end. Tyler Conklin, he's going to be a good second tight end. They've got Joe Flacco to help kind of mold Zach Wilson. I'm really liking their roster.
I think the Jets, they're loaded at offense for Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson should excel this year. I mean, you've got a loaded offense, and I think they're building up their defense, which already their defensive line is so good, and now they got a corner, and then I think that's a sleeper team right now in the AFC East.
Yeah. So then pick number 11. Okay, so this is when the first trade happened. The Washington Commanders and New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints received round 1 pick number 11, and Washington received round 1 pick number 16, round 3 pick number 98, and round 4 pick number 120. And then they ended up trading that pick to Carolina later on. But they got 3 picks for the number 11 overall, and the Washington Commanders, I think it was a good move because Washington didn't need a receiver that bad. Like, they didn't need this. They didn't need Chris Olave, which I think Michael Thomas and Chris Olave is going to be a sick duo for Jameis Winston. Or even if Jameis Winston doesn't perform well this year and they end up drafting one next year, it's a good duo for a young quarterback.
Yeah, Chris Olave is a good pick for the Saints too, and they traded up because they wanted him. And Chris Olave is kind of that receiver that you'd expect the Saints to get, and like kind of fits that New Orleans mold, I guess, in a sense. Yeah. And it's kind of the receiver that the Saints wanted, and the Saints couldn't really develop well.
So then, pick number 12 was another trade. The Minnesota Vikings traded out. They ended up getting pick 32, pick 34, and pick 66, and they gave up number 12 and number 46, which Detroit ended up going with Williams, wide receiver. And like he just got done saying, the wide receivers were flying off the board, and teams were trading up. And the Ravens got really screwed right here because they were like pick 13 or 14, I think.
14, yeah. And something kind of big, we'll get to it in a second. And Jameson Williams, I thought was the best receiver in the draft. And Detroit got a good one, too. And now they got wide receivers with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they got DeAndre Swift. And they got T.J. Hawkinson. That offense is looking really good as well. Yeah. And I just think the receivers at this point in the draft, when I'm watching it, they just start flying off the board like crazy. And moving on to moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, they have also traded for this pick, the Houston.
Yeah. So Houston gave up number 13, Houston gave up number 13, but they got pick 15, pick 124, pick 162, and pick 166. So they gave up their round 1, and they got a round 1, a round 4, and 2 round 5s. But like we were just talking about, the wide receivers kind of caused this to happen going forward. Picks were getting traded. Jordan Davis, he was the guy that was running like a record-breaking speed for a D tackle. Insane combine. I was really shocked to see him fall, but I think with the wide receiver getting taken, that's why he fell a little bit. I was expecting him to be more like pick 10 or 11, but I mean, regardless, he was a first-round pick easily freak athlete, and he's going to be really good for that Philadelphia Eagles defense with Fletcher Cox right next to him.
Yeah, just imagine that big boy Fletcher Cox and another big boy in Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis was one of the best D linemen in this draft, and the Eagles traded up to get their man, and they did it. And they did draft wide receiver. We'll tell you guys why in a second. But yeah, they definitely got a really good stake in Jordan Davis. And then Baltimore Ravens, they just got their pick 14. I don't think they trade a pick.
No, they got Kyle Hamilton, safety, and we were really shocked to see him fall this far. He was the top 5 projected pick, but obviously wide receivers, the edge rushers in this draft, the linemen in this draft, like you couldn't miss out on Evan Neal and Icky. You couldn't miss out on the 3 top edges, and Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker, and Aiden Hutchinson, and then obviously the 2 corners, Derek Stingley and Sauce Gardner. Couldn't miss out on those guys. And then Falcons needed a wide receiver, so that's why Kyle Hamilton kept falling. But he got picked up 14 by Baltimore. I think it's a great pickup for them. I think, obviously, Lamar needs help, especially when we get done talking about the next thing that they did. But I do agree that the safety was really good for their defense.
Yeah, safety is the position that they needed.
They haven't had a dominant one since Ed Reed.
Yeah, and kind of since Earl Thomas won his last few years before he kind of he was decent enough. But Kyle Hamilton is a really good safety, and that defense is going to look even better. They kept basically everyone they had last year, and they just basically kept them this year. So that defense is going to be good. And Houston, they traded up to pick 15, and pick 15 was Philadelphia's pick.
Yep.
And they got Kenyon Green, guard from Texas A&M.
Really good guard, possibly the best guard in the draft. Houston needed to work on their offensive line as well, so I love the pick for them. They got to protect Davis Mills or whoever is back there throwing the football. Obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars are in their division. They just bulked up their defensive line. Indianapolis has a really good defensive line. Tennessee Titans just got they just re-signed all their linebackers.
That division is going to be interesting to watch as well.
I know. Literally anything could happen. But they all have to play the AFC West, I think, so that's going to make things really difficult for everybody.
And I mean, Kenyon Green is probably the best guard he has had. And definitely Houston bulking up their offensive line. Building around Davis Mills, which I expected that to happen this year. That's why I didn't pick quarterback or anything, because I expect them to build on Davis Mills. But the only thing that concerns me about the Texans is Davis Mills your guy. I don't know if he is. Yeah,
but at the same time, quarterback next year is going to be easier to get now that all these just went off the board. You try to think ahead and see who's most likely going to go quarterback next year. At this point, Giants, Seahawks,
Seahawks,
maybe
Texans,
maybe Saints, maybe Indy if Matt Ryan decides to call it quits after that. I don't think he's going to. I think they'll end up signing him for at least another 2 years. And then other than that, like you're basically fighting with 5 other teams. And out of those teams I listed,
Lions also.
But out of the teams I listed, you're probably going to be the worst of them.
Yeah.
So you're projected, like right now, way too early predictions are the Texans getting the first pick next year. As long as, my Jaguars don't want to play. They're kind of hooked to that number 1 pick. I think they like picking.
Well, it is a good pick to have, but kind of horrible to have as well. Yeah. It's good and bad.
So yeah, the Texans could definitely address it next year. If they have a top 5 pick, they're going to get a really good quarterback next year. So I think it's smart to roll with Davis Mills. Hopefully it works out. And if not, you get a top 5 pick next year. Get a draft your guy. So.
Get Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Definitely probably the best quarterback in that draft next year. And Washington Commanders with pick 16, they traded up with the Saints, and they got Jahan Dotson, wide receiver at Penn State. And you guys see the downfall of the Atlanta Falcons picking receiver. Everyone at this point was a receiver. They drafted up except the Eagles, but they forgot receivers heavily. First round just kept flying off the board. And I think Jahan Dotson, he's going to be a good compliment to Scary Terry.
Yeah, I do like the pick. Okay, so then this is where it gets kind of tricky because I'm trying to do this in real time on how things happened. The Los Angeles Chargers were announcing their pick, and they drafted a guard, Zion Johnson. Really good pick. You got to protect Justin Herbert. Give him a good young offensive line. That way you can afford the weapons around him. And then hopefully you can draft to replace the weapons later on. I really like the pick, but as this pick was happening, sorry Charger fans, I'm kind of grazing over this because the pick was good. It was the second best guard in the draft. Really good to protect Justin Herbert. But while this was happening, the Ravens traded Hollywood Brown in a third-round pick.
Oh, not Ravens. The Eagles. Titans traded the Eagles.
No. This is what happened in real time. The Arizona Cardinals received Marquise Hollywood Brown in a third-round pick for pick 23. Okay, so this is in real time. The Cardinals drafted the guard. The Baltimore Ravens were trying to trade up a little bit so that they could get another wide receiver. When this happened, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tennessee Titans traded. And the Titans traded their round 1 pick number 18 and round 3 pick 101 for wide receiver A.J. Brown.
And right here, two really good receivers that you never thought would be traded like this in a draft. And it happened. Look, we're about to say the Titans pick right here to get another wide receiver, but A.J. Brown, I know you don't want to pay him $100 million, but he even came out and said, I don't even want that money. I didn't even want too much money. I just wanted.
But when you get traded, you're like, I'm going to take the money. Then,
yeah.
You know, like.
But that was just a bad decision by the Titans to trade him. I mean, I know you got a receiver in Traylon Burks here, but definitely A.J. Brown, I mean, he's young. He's not even that old. And also Hollywood Brown. Lamar was even like, WTF, he tweeted. It's like, he was mad about it. I bet he was pissed about it. His number one receiver, and now all you have is Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I guess Rashad Bateman, he was really good last year, but he hasn't shown anything right now. But
it's not worth trading your biggest target, really.
Yeah.
We were literally, go watch the reactions and stuff. We literally were in awe that they traded Hollywood Brown. Everybody at the draft party was like, Hollywood Brown, what? Like,
yeah, it was such a crazy moment when that got put on the screen that trade happened.
Yeah, we were all like, what the hell? But then when that happened, the Tennessee Titans ended up drafting Traylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas.
Yeah, and Traylon Burks, I guess, well, this is obviously the replacement for A.J. Brown.
And cheaper. I mean, it is a good cap move to do, but man, your offense is obviously built around Derrick Henry, right? But we just saw what happened when he do that with a running back. He got injured, and he almost didn't come back, in time for the last playoff game. So I disagree with the way they did that. I think they should have tried to take A.J. Brown, and I personally, if I was going to trade someone, I would have traded Derrick Henry. I just, you see it way too often. These teams pay their running backs, and then they get hurt. Zeke, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. These guys get these huge contracts, and they try to build their team around the running back, which, like I said, these guys are dynamic. Zeke's not so much, but Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, these guys are all really good. But then, you look at the Vikings, they have Madison on the back. And he's not as good as Dalvin Cook, but he could carry your team. like Dalvin Cook does. I mean, he's not going to give you that kind of production, but very solid running back right behind him. Why pay the guy in front of him? I mean,
yeah, and it's weird because A.J. Brown's such a good receiver, and you got so many years left on him, and he obviously wanted to stay in Tennessee. So it was just a weird decision. And going back to the Ravens as well, trading Hollywood Brown, Lamar's only weapon, it just doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't.
It doesn't. It really doesn't make any sense. And we're about to go over it too. On that pick, they don't even get a wide receiver replaced.
Yeah, exactly. The New Orleans Saints ended up going Trevor Penning, left tackle or tackle. I don't actually know what position he plays. Don't quote me on that. But it's really good because they just lost Armstead. So very good pick to replace that. I think that was a little stretch, him going that high. But obviously the Saints needed that to replace Armstead. Hopefully he gives them the same production or similar production because Armstead, very good left tackle, probably the best free agent last year, in my opinion, or this past year, in my opinion, on the offensive line. So yeah, big for them.
Yeah, it's definitely just protecting Winston for the future.
Yeah, their franchise quarterback, Jameis Winston, for the future.
I meant like sign, yeah. You meant the tackle for the future, not the quarterback. I definitely don't think Bengals is going to be there long.
He's their franchise guy. And think about it.
They think he's the franchise.
You're hoping, right?
Unless he throws 40 interceptions.
Yeah, they're hoping he's the guy. But look at this is a very...
I think James Winston played in Tampa for 6 years.
This is very similar, though, to Drew Brees in San Diego not being the guy and then going to New Orleans and obviously becoming a Hall of Famer. Could we see the same thing happen with Jameis Winston, leaving the team that drafted him, going to the New Orleans Saints?
No. Never. I'm going to bet. I don't want to bet so much money on that.
All right, so then we see the number one quarterback. The first, I'm not going to say number one.
Probably not the best quarterback, but a really good quarterback, but not the best quarterback.
The most ranked. He's started. He's ready to start.
Yeah.
Compared to the other guys. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, I was really shocked the quarterback lasted this long. I really was.
I really thought Carolina or even New Orleans would have got one.
I would have thought someone would have traded up because they were afraid they would have lost their guy. But Pittsburgh Steelers, they normally don't move up. Very smart for them not to because they obviously got their guy, Kenny Pickett. They've gotten to watch him for the past few years in Pittsburgh, playing at Pittsburgh. So they knew they wanted him. They knew what he had. They knew his tangibles. They know how athletic he is. They know the system he can run. So really like the pick for them. They got the replacement for Big Ben. They've got Mitchell Trubisky they don't have to start Kenny Pickett right now. They can groom him. They can let Trubisky play. I really hope Trubisky gets a shot to play. I really hope he can win out the starting job because I think Trubisky can be a starter still. I think we've talked about it before. Trubisky was in a very bad system, very bad team with the Chicago Bears.
Bad head coach.
Matt Nagy did not help him out at all. Whether you want to talk about his athleticism, his decision making, whatever, that stuff. When you have a bad head coach, it's like Trevor Lawrence this year. Had a terrible head coach, and look at what happened. He was the number one overall pick. He was a generational type quarterback, and everybody thinks he's a bust 3 games into the season because of how terrible of a head coach and quarterback coach and offensive coordinator they had. So, same thing with Chicago. Look at Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields would have had a better year if they would not have Nagy.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think he wouldn't have even started last year. I think they would have kept Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that should have been what happened.
And that Nagy kept putting Justin Fields in and out. You can't do that with a quarterback.
Leave Andy Dalton or Nick Foles in. Let Justin Fields get groomed. Maybe kind of do what they did with Trey Lance over in 49ers where you let him come in for a series or something.
And what's really stupid, their quarterback room was Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, 2 starters.
Yeah.
And then they had Justin Fields. And they still put Justin Fields in?
Not to mention Nick Foles was getting paid like a starter. Yeah, I mean, he still has the contract from Jacksonville. Well, I think that's last year. They just released him, actually.
Yeah, they just released Nick Foles today.
He signed a 4-year, $88 million contract, and they were paying the rest of it. So, like, it was stupid to have him on the bench.
He's gone. That's good for the Bears franchise.
So, yeah.
And Kenny Pickett, he kind of looks like Justin Herbert a little bit. Yeah, similar.
Okay, so then we had another trade. This is where Kansas City traded up to the number 21 overall pick. They gave away number 29, number 94. Sorry, number 29, number 94, and number 121. So they gave up the first for a first, third, and fourth. And we were kind of shocked to see them go defense here, but at the same time, I think they want a completely different idea of this draft, because obviously the offense has shown them it can't win the Super Bowl every year, and they had to do something different.
I think they heard a lot of people saying that this draft, they were just like, we need to build up our defense.
Yeah, so they went cornerback Trent McDuffie, very good corner, played for Washington. So yes, I do like that they went defense, because the defense needed a lot of work, and they just lost their best defensive player in Tyrann. You could argue their best defensive player was Chris Jones. Tyrann Mathieu, if he's not the best player on their defense, he's the second best. So it's not much of an argument there.
Yeah,
and they lost him. They need help in the secondary. Great fit for them.
They needed defensive help, and they got a good corner in Trent McDuffie. So definitely someone that they're going to start now, someone who can play and start now. And this is where things get a little funny, because the Green Bay Packers, they have 2 picks in the first round here. And the Packers haven't drafted the first round wide receiver in 20 years. So as we're sitting there watching the draft, the Green Bay pick is in, and we're thinking, hey, maybe they actually do receiver, right?
Yeah.
No, they go Quay Walker, linebacker. And the thing is, Quay Walker's a decent linebacker. It's just that he was in the top 2 linebacker.
Yeah, he was not the best.
He was definitely not the best. I really think Kobe Dean was the best, and he fell so hard. And he's going to be ready. I think that was a steal by the Eagles.
It was, but also he had the injury thing. So my Jaguars might have got the second best linebacker in the draft. However, they obviously could have went to Kobe and wouldn't have been bad, but with the injury and he needs surgery and stuff, so I understand why you fell back. But yeah, very surprised. Now, granted, there's not another wide receiver that goes in the first round. So Green Bay, in my opinion, should have traded back here. They should have went to maybe try to get pick. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense to go linebacker right there, in my opinion, and not get the best linebacker available.
Yeah, I guess the scouts for Green Bay, they saw something they really liked in Quay Walker. So definitely going to be interesting to see him play. They didn't get rid of Darius Smith, so that was a really big need for them as well.
So right here is where another trade ended up happening. The Bills trade up, and the Ravens have to trade back. So this is where the Ravens really screwed themselves, I think. They missed out on all the wide receivers early. They had to go Kyle Hamilton, and they draft back, and they have to keep drafting. They keep trading back because there's no good wide receivers available right there. So they traded away pick 23, and they got pick 25 and pick 130.
And with the 23rd overall pick, the Buffalo Bills from Baltimore, they get Kaiir Elam, a corner out of Florida.
Yep, and this was a guy that I had said on the previous podcast that he was going to move up into the first round. So I nailed on that one. I'm a big Florida fan, so I get to watch him. And there's a lot of reports. Yeah, there was a lot of reports saying that he was going to move up.
Yeah, definitely before even the draft or so hard. Like Ian said, there were reports that he even draft up Kaiir. And Buffalo Bills got a good corner. He's a good player.
So then the Dallas Cowboys, they lost Lael Collins, and they trade up or they don't trade, they just draft Tyler Smith, offensive tackle of Tulsa. They obviously needed to replace Collins, signed a good contract with the Bengals. This was a no-brainer. There was no debate that they were going to go offensive tackle somewhere in the first round. They know what to do when it comes to their quarterback and to try to protect him. So that was a solid pick, and everybody knows.
Yeah, and with now Baltimore, they traded back, and when that pick, this pick, so the 25th overall pick, is the entire division ball. And
it was around this time that Lamar Jackson tweeted out his WTF tweet.
Yeah, and at this point, I get it that they drafted center, protect Lamar, but at this point, why didn't you just replace Marquise Brown? I know there wasn't any wide receivers, but I guess protect Lamar, but you're not going to be able to rely on him in the run game because easily got stopped when everyone figures it out. Literally the first year, Lamar won the playoffs. Literally, Titans basically shut it down because they knew what they were doing. It's run. It's not really hard. You can't keep the run game going, like a pure run game going anymore, because a lot of these teams, they know how to defend.
Oh, yeah. They stack the box. They stack the outside. You have to have a legit dominant for that to work.
Yeah.
So then here we go. We got another trade, and that is the New York Jets trade with the Tennessee Titans. The Jets received pick 26 and number 101, and the Titans received round 2, pick 35, pick 69, and pick 163. And then they draft Jermaine Johnson, defensive end from Florida State. Really solid pick for them. He shouldn't have fell that far, Jermaine Johnson. But obviously, all those wide receivers go. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, and he was the best edge rusher left. That's a first-round talent. So definitely New York Jets, they had another good defensive player, and that team's looking scary. That team's just looking very, very scary. And then we move on to the 27th overall pick, and the Jaguars traded with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to move up.
Yep, so the Jacksonville Jaguars traded their pick 33, pick 106, and pick 180. Now, let me tell you, the Jaguars had 12 picks going into this draft, so they were going to move up. It's kind of funny, though. We basically got kicked out of the draft party around pick 22. They turned all the screens off and everything, and then the Jaguars ended up getting another pick in the first round.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to have a draft party and then kick everyone out when you're going to trade up to the draft and get another pick. It's kind of like you kind of just made everyone miss that pick.
And Trent Baalke came out and said, after they announced the pick, they obviously did a little presser, and they said they were going to try to trade back into the first round. So I don't understand why they did that, but it is what it is. It's over now.
Yeah.
But they ended up getting Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. I love the pick. And just a little spoiler, they ended up getting another linebacker. Where did they get? They traded up.
Second round of first round.
I know they traded up, and everyone was like, well, they traded up for... I think it's pick 7.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they go and get another linebacker. Here's the thing, though. They're running a defense that requires a lot of linebacker help. It's not a dumb move, and I think it pisses me off that everybody's like hating on him for that pick. And I do understand we need a dominant number 1 wide receiver. But the Jacksonville Jaguars just paid over $100 million at the wide receiver position in this offseason. It wasn't happening. We were not drafting wide receiver anywhere. It wasn't happening. And here's my other thing. A dominant defense helps out a young quarterback. It helps out them tremendously. Trevor Lawrence will not have to throw the ball 45 times a game. He'll literally drive down the field on the first drive of the game, get a touchdown. On the second drive, they get the ball, score a field goal, and as long as the defense is holding up, they literally run the ball after that. Like, they have Travis Etienne, they have James Robinson, and then they just got, what's the running back name? The running back they just got in the 5th round. Damn.
Running back. Snoop running back.
Damn. Oh, Snoop Connor. So yeah, you literally, Trevor Lawrence is set up so nicely with this defense now. They went super defensive heavy. The last time the Jaguars went defensive heavy in the offseason and the draft, guess what? They made it to the AFC Championship.
I think it's a little too hopeful, but
Okay, I do agree. I'm not saying they're going to the AFC Championship this year, but I'm saying it was a huge first step. And guess what? We go into next offseason only needing a wide receiver and a couple offensive linemen. Like, literally. And here's the other thing. I'm not saying this is going to happen. Jarvis Landry is still available. Odell Beckham's still available. So, like, it's not like the options aren't there. And honestly, there wasn't a wide receiver worth going for in the second or third round.
Yeah, you definitely didn't need a wide receiver there. I think people also thought that it was a reach to get another linebacker, but when you don't have a wide receiver, it's obviously you draft whoever you think is the best defender.
And right now, so think about this too. Two dominant linebackers that we've had recently, Miles Jack, Tubman Smith. Super, really good linebacker. And now we have Aluakon, Devin Lloyd, and Muma, yeah. So really, I'm in love with the picks. I give Trent Baalke a lot of shit. I wanted him gone before the draft. I was putting the clown emojis all over my Twitter. I was putting the Shad Khan's a clown, wearing clown masks and stuff. Like, I completely agree that Trent Baalke's a clown, but hear me out on this one. He did a decent job in this draft. I think the only question mark,
I think there were some defensive players that he picked that they reached on.
Well, here's the thing, though. You missed out. Like, Devin Lloyd at 27?
No, I'm not talking about the first round. I'm talking about the other rounds.
Yeah, but at that point, like, fourth, fifth, sixth rounds, like...
They're not proven yet either.
They're most likely barely making the team anyway. So, like, at that point, you're drafting based on your draft board. You're not going off best available on the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round. You're going off your draft board. This part, they went best available, literally every pick. My only question mark is the Trayvon Walker pick.
Yeah.
And I think he has potential. I do think he's got... I understand where they went with that. And here's the thing, too. Doug Peterson is an offensive-minded head coach. So the offense is going to be better this year simply because of Doug Peterson as opposed to Urban Meyer. Like, it's literally going to be a better offense. It's going to be a better team. You're being coached by a former quarterback. So Trevor is going to blossom. And I think Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, Zay Jones, Laquan Treadwell, Jamal Agnew, all in the wide receiver room, trying to bolster that wide receiver room. I think there's a lot of speed there. I think Laquan Treadwell showed a few times that he can go up and get the ball. If they fix their drops, their wide receiver core is going to be really good, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a top 5, top 10, but it's going to be average at least. And a generational type quarterback like Andrew Luck would make the wide receiver core even better.
Yeah.
So everybody that's wanting to hate on the picks that Trent Baalke did,
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm giving him a chance.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Because last year, I don't think the draft was bad last year either.
You gotta give your team a chance whenever, because if you're trying to win now, that's literally the point.
My thing is, Trent Baalke in the last 2 years, this draft was not bad. The offseason, not bad. Everybody's crying that we overpaid, but guess what? He got talent for Trevor in the offseason the best he could. And last year, I think their draft class was actually pretty good. You can argue that Travis Etienne at 25 was not the greatest pick, but you were trying to give Trevor a weapon in the backfield, and I think that was an Urban Meyer thing because he didn't like James Robinson for whatever reason. He was benching him all the time. I really think that you can, and it's not his fault that half the rookies didn't play last year. Trent Baalke, he drafts him, he can't make him play. That's a coaching issue. So I'm giving Trent Baalke the benefit of the doubt right now. Obviously, after the preseason, week 1, week 2, week 3, I will, if Trayvon Walker sucks, if these linebackers suck, somehow, then I will be on the Trent Baalke needs to be fired again. But as of right now, I'm simmering down on the Trent Baalke needs to be fired.
And after the Jaguars, the pick at linebacker, the Packers have another pick, and people are thinking, now you get it.
Yeah, now you get it.
But then they go Devontae Wyatt, the defensive tackle of Georgia, but it's not a bad pick again either. I mean,
It's not.
Devontae Wyatt's a hell of a player in tackle. I watched a lot of the Georgia games in the end because I like Georgia a lot, but I don't watch college football. But Devontae Wyatt, anybody on that Georgia defense, they're going to be potentially really, really good. And Devontae Wyatt is a good defensive tackle pick.
And here's the thing with the New England Patriots right here. There was people saying that Jaguars reached up Devin Lloyd. I literally can probably find the Facebook thing where I literally had to comment on someone and be like, "There's no way." This guy posted on Facebook and said, let's see. He said, "Add another draft showing Baalke doesn't have a clue. Number 1 overall pick is a project player and trading 3." I do agree. The number 1 overall pick should not have been the project player Trayvon Walker. I've already said that. And trading 3 picks to move up 6 spots for a player that more than likely would have been there at pick 33. Just talking about Devin Lloyd. And I just said, there is no way that Devin Lloyd would have been there at pick 33 because the New England Patriots at 29, 100% would have picked, in my opinion, would have picked Devin Lloyd right there. 100%. It's not a down. They just lost Kyle Van Noy. Not a down my mind. They would have won linebacker.
Yeah, and definitely 29 New England, the 29 overall pick. And I think New England, Bill Belichick is a sneaky player, and but I don't think they got the best draft they did this year.
I don't either.
And right here, they picked Cole Strange, guard out of Jacksonville.
And this is really funny because Sean McVay had him projected to go like pick 100.
Yeah, I know. I found that. He was in the interview. He was like, I thought you would have felt it.
That was really funny, actually. And it just goes to show, like, people's draft boards are completely different than other people.
Yeah.
There's people that think, like, obviously the Rams thought Cole Strange would be a 4th-round pick, but there's people that I don't doubt that thought Lewis Sine might have went down to the 2nd round. So that was really funny.
Yeah, and New England got a guard. I get why you picked.
They just traded Shaq Mason, so they needed a.
They got rid of Shaq Mason, so they got Cole Strange. And at 30, the Kansas City Chiefs get a defensive end. They're going heavily defense because they know their defense isn't that good. So they get George Kalafdis out of Purdue, and he's a pretty good defensive end too. So definitely, this Chiefs defense is gonna look transformed this year. Definitely interested to see how these rookies play. George Kalafdis, he can play from Purdue. He plays really well at Purdue.
And then Cincinnati Bengals picked up Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan. Really good pickup for them. I think it's going to be kind of weird how he plays because they still have Jesse Bates and Von Bell.
Yeah, but he might rotate as one of them just to get injured or something.
But he's going to have a chance to develop. He's not going to have to be a starter right away. And he was the second best safety.
And Cincinnati didn't have too many holes going to this draft because they revamped their O-line a little bit. And they also didn't really have too many holes on defense. So I think this was a really good pickup at safety because get a younger safety. Von Bell probably leaves soon, or you'll probably release Von Bell soon. But definitely, they're planning for the future and planning with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And then with the last pick of the 2022 NFL Draft in the 1st round, the Minnesota Vikings, they get this pick from Detroit. They traded Detroit, and they get Lewis Cine, safety out of Georgia.
Yeah, this was a solid pick too.
Yeah, I really like how Minnesota one of their holes was safety because Harrison Smith can't be the only safety up there, and also I think he's gonna fit well with Harrison Smith. He's gonna learn from Harrison Smith, and probably even start this year. So Lewis is gonna be a hell of a player. Another Georgia player getting drafted, and just a little fact: Georgia football literally had the most had the most college football players drafted this year in NFL draft history.
Yep. Yeah, and I just go to show you how good that defense was.
Yeah, and that Georgia defense is dominant and one of the best draft class going into this year. And all these Georgia players kept getting off the board, and it's just crazy to see. And that is the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. Definitely, we had a lot of fun going over this.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, we're going to be doing an extra stream tomorrow. We're going to be going around rounds 2 through 7, and definitely going over each player as best as we can, and definitely letting, at the end of the day, giving some draft grades out probably.
Yeah, if not, we'll give out the draft grades.
Yeah.
Depending, we're going to go as long as we possibly can on tomorrow's podcast. We might have to start a little early because there's a lot of...
Yeah, we might even start. We might even get this podcast early.
Yeah.
So
tomorrow we will be on the
Not So Pro Football podcast.
yeah, and they're 6 Central Time.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely, I think they do it on StreamYard. Yeah, they definitely they did stream their stuff on StreamYard, but they do upload that video to YouTube. So definitely check them out. We'll leave a description down below after when the videos released, and we'll just let you guys know so you guys can check it out. They seem like really cool people, and we're super thankful that they invited us to collab with them on the podcast, and we'll be talking about draft again tomorrow as well. So thank you, Not So Pro Football Podcast. Thank you guys for inviting us to be on your podcast. Really excited, and thank you guys for watching the stream.
Couple of things before we end it. Remember, we are giving away this signed mini helmet by Byron Leftwich, former QB of the Jacksonville Jaguars, current offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you don't want to miss out. Once we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube and 100 Twitter followers, we'll be giving that away to a random YouTube subscriber. Let's see, what else am I missing?
And
I think
I
that's kind of it.
just make sure you guys have the notification bell on so you know when we go live.
We are working. You guys see him in our chat sometimes. Vital Elite. He has started helping us with editing some videos and stuff. So we really appreciate that from him. We're gonna start leaving his link down in the description below of all of our videos and stuff. So go give him a subscribe as well. Vital Elite. He up and coming content creator. He's mainly plays Fortnite, I think.
And he's pretty good at Fortnite too.
Yeah.
So.
Also, we're going to be in a tournament with him in like 3 weeks. So that's going to be fun as well. Hopefully we can bring some money from that. Because the last tournament, the Fishy is the one that hosted the last tournament we played in for the Warzone Duo tournament. We got 3rd place. So we're confident. What is going on? Okay. But anyway, we got 3rd place with that. Won some cash. So we're hoping we can win again with this one. And then we have a Duos Rebirth tournament coming up, hosted by Philly's Finest. So trying to earn some money for the channel so that way we can get new cameras.
Get our first camera.
Yeah, get our first real camera.
And just a lot of different stuff that you guys will see in our background, stuff like that. So make it look a little more cleaner and better.
Yeah, and we're gonna be streaming these tournaments to the YouTube channel. We'll obviously announce before we do it, so that way you guys can come by, drop a like, share it, like it, love it, kiss it, all that good stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell a friend. We'll be live again tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter to find out what time, because we might do it early. I think 6 p.m. Eastern is... Wait, no, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Is 6 Central Time, so it'll definitely be after that sometime. But it'll probably be about like 7 or 8 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
something like that. So definitely get ready for.
But we don't even have to tell you that if you turn the noti bell, because it's just going to notify you as soon as we go live. And then what you do is you go in your room, you close the door, turn the lights off.
Where's it going?
You get in bed on your grab your laptop. You open up 2 tabs, one with us on it, and one with whatever else you want to do. You just turn us on. Okay, well, we can end it.
Okay, so definitely make sure you have a noti bell so you can keep our tab open. So definitely you guys don't miss a single thing of NFL news. So we want to thank you guys. Thank you, Vital. Definitely our new video editor for the time being. So thank you to him especially. Link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PIPodcast and on Twitter at PIPodcasters. Until next time.